You're on.
All right. Well, I didn't want to do a YouTube video so shortly after the last one, about a week ago. But that debate, I wrote a couple letters to the editor about it, and I thought the debate last night, Thursday night's debate in Canada and the U.S. Republican debate, juxtaposed each other, and I thought, oh, it's worth commenting on. And I want to do something positive on this very brief. I know it's only going to be 5 minutes. No, you don't have to. It's not about a big ego or anything. I want to say to anyone who watches, Canada, our debate, Canadians have a lot to be proud about, right? There's a lot of, last night's debate in Toronto, there was a lot of intellectualism, there was a lot of policy discussion, there was no nuttiness, and I thought, you know what? And our debates generally have always been about policy. All the debates that we've had in previous elections, there are great debates. And the Mulroney-Turner ones from 84 to 88, the free trade debate in 88 was, and then, of course, 84 when Mulroney challenged Turner. You, sir, had an option. Your option was to say no. That's when Turner appointed all these Trudeau-era senators. Those are great debates. And the free trade debate was a great debate. Same with Mulroney and Turner. And Ed Broadbent, unfortunately, was on the sidelines. Last night's debate, no knockout punches, nothing, but good, solid policy debate. And I do think Elizabeth May, I'm sort of a fan, not a total fan of the Green Party, but Elizabeth May is the best prime minister we will never get. She is the best prime minister we will never get. They always said of Robert Stanfield, the best prime minister we never had. Olivia, yeah, for whatever. I don't know why I bring that up. Elizabeth May is the best prime minister we will never get. She's so good on policy. She's a policy wonk. She reads. Her folders are full of Post-it notes. She's so impressive, and I think everyone agreed that she sort of won the debate. She challenged Harper better than anyone. So Elizabeth May is the best prime minister we'll never get because she will not win, obviously, the government. But I think the Green Party will do well in October's election. I'd be surprised they don't win at least 10 seats on the strength of her leadership and the strength of her intelligence and the strength of her personality. So Elizabeth May, the best prime minister we will never get. I was Freud in there when I was thinking of Olivia Chow, of course. Thank God that'll never happen because she has nothing to say. Olivia Chow has nothing to say, and that's why she didn't. That's why in the mayoralty race she came so poorly. But Elizabeth May, very impressive, and I'm not the only one that says that, right? Everyone watched the debate, and anyone watched previous debates where she's allowed to attend. That's pretty impressive. Anyone watches her performance in the House of Commons or her interviews, she's an impressive person, and let's see where the Green Party goes in October. But she definitely did well in that debate. But they all did well. The Harperian leader, the Harperian warlord, Stephen Harper, I have to admit, he did pretty good. He was pretty smooth. He knew his facts. Got to give him credit for that. Justin Bieber, Trudeau. He looked sort of like he was in a high school debate, but he wasn't bad. He was a bit shaky. You can tell he was so scripted and rehearsed, like he was nervous. And you think that's kind of funny, right? The son of a former prime minister was so good at this, right? Pierre Trudeau was a master of the game. I would love to have seen Pierre Trudeau up against Stephen Harper. Wouldn't that have been amazing? Justin Bieber, Trudeau did pretty good. He held his own, especially in the closing statements when he challenged this whole idea, are you ready to be prime minister? And he challenged that. And that was very good, I thought. Because who is really ready to be prime minister with, who is Stephen Harper? Certainly wasn't. Stephen Harper had barely traveled outside of Canada before he became prime minister. Like, no one's really ready for the top job, whether that's being an American president or a Canadian prime minister. You're never totally ready for all the pressures and all the different things you have to do, because it's a pretty complex job. You just have basic common sense, know to hire, and make basic common sense choices. So no one's ever totally ready for the top job. And anyways, Justin Bieber, Trudeau did pretty good. Charles Tupper Mulcair, who like I said, he even last night he looked like he was at the 1864 Charlottetown Conference. He did pretty good, but he stumbled, especially at the end. He could barely and I feel bad for him because that happens. But he did pretty good. Not as good as a lot of people expected, but I won't take that away from him. He was nervous. He's the front runner, right? When you're the front runner, you get nervous. So he did pretty good too. They all did well, and it was a good civilized. It was they all did well. It was a good civilized debate. We had a debate about policy. It was a bit of intellectualism. It was serious, and none of them stumbled. And I think I say, oh Canada, that's great. And then I watched the highlights of the Republican debate with the Trumpster, and it was silly. It was a lot of it was racist. A lot of it was just so simplistic. And this is the most powerful country in the world, and the Republican Party has this debate with this nutty guy, Donald Trump, and then all the rest of them are really not that serious candidates. Jeb Bush to a point, but the rest of them are just so silly. They're all whack jobs in a way. Half of them believe the Earth is still flat. You know what I mean? These are people who deny climate change. The Earth is flat. They're not great on women's rights. When when the Trumpster was asked about why do you hate women so much, he said, I don't like being politically correct. And people cheered. And I thought, this is Cleveland. Like, what the heck? This is a city 250 miles from here. Like, oh my God, like people are cheering this. So, and there were some serious people there too, John Kasich and some others. But yeah, it was a joke compared to the Canadian debate, which was serious and civilized, and none of that stupidity. I thought, God, thank God I live in Canada, And I think the only country in the world would have I can't think there's any other country in the world would have a political debate like the one that happened in the United States in Cleveland last night. This is the most powerful country in the world, and the level of intellectualism is so low. And it's amazing. This is a country, like Noam Chomsky said, this is a country that hasn't gone through the Enlightenment. This is a country still in the 13th century in many ways. And yet they're the most powerful country in the world. And it's really sad.
Even John Kasich, doesn't he sort of feign seriousness when it comes to issues like climate change?
None of them believe that climate change exists. Right. And me, I'm personally, it's not something that keeps me awake at night, but I'm not a denier. I know it's happening. Yeah. Hey, we've lived through the two coldest winters in southern Ontario. Eastern North America has had two extremely cold winters, polar vortexes, which many link to climate change. So, of course, it's happening. It doesn't keep me awake at night. I'm not an eco freak. As Matthew McConaughey says in those Chrysler commercials, I'm not a tree hugger or anything like that. But it is happening. I'm not a denier. It just doesn't keep me awake at night. And I think a lot of the environmental movement is kind of fraudulent. But I'm going on because I didn't want to even go on a tangent. But the Canadian debate was civilized. It was about intellectualism. It was about policy. And we should be all proud of Canadians that we can have these debates. And I do think I hope Elizabeth May is invited to future debates because she is great. And she's the one person that really challenged Harper. And anyone who watched that debate last night knew that. They all did well, but she was good. My only problem with that debate was the foreign policy section was a bit limited. I think Harper should have been challenged more on the stupid policy towards Iran. Why we have this stupid policy towards Iran, this isolationist policy. We sort of get its tepid support to the accord reached by most of our allies on Iran's nuclear program. Everybody in the world basically supports this except Harper, but of course he couldn't come out and say it, obviously, because everybody supports it, and he couldn't come out and totally support Israel's Netanyahu's stupid position on this. But yeah, I wish there'd been more in foreign policy. Our stupid position towards Russia, which our overwhelming support for Israel, which is totally over the top. Mulcair was good when he said we need a balanced approach to at least the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. An secure Israeli state and a Palestinian state. And But Harper's support for Israel is so over the top, but that never really got criticized. And of course, Justin Trudeau got off on that because he didn't have to answer that because he's pretty much in line with Harper's position on Israel. But we didn't get into that. Iran, our stupid position on Iran. Of course, we need to reopen our embassy there. We need to re-engage Iran. Iran could be so useful to helping in the region. Obama gets it. European allies get it, but not Harper. But he didn't say anything against the agreement because basically he was told by his allies to shut up, which he did. So on U.S. relations, Canada has the worst relations with the United States in recent memory. I know you think a conservative prime minister would always have good relations with the U.S. No. I think these are the worst. Even Trudeau, I think, had better relations with Nixon than what Harper has with Obama. Now, I know Harper thinks Obama is another Pierre Trudeau, Justin's father. And of course, Harper hated Pierre Trudeau. And he thinks Obama is like Trudeau, too liberal, too intellectual. Harper hates that. But this is the worst relations that we've ever had. And, if Harper had probably had better relations with Obama and did a bit more on climate change issues, maybe the Keystone Project would have gone ahead.
Nobody wants that to go ahead.
But, now it's a done deal. And Obama, Obama doesn't really care what Canada. I mean, on the other hand, the Obama administration really doesn't care about what Canada thinks. Canada's irrelevant. So
we follow them.
Which is stupid. And a lot of American foreign policy thinkers, this is a pretty stupid approach, but Canada does matter. But yeah, Harper screwed up our relationship with the United States. He even refuses to meet with the American ambassador, which is incredible, right? The Roman proconsul in Ottawa, Caesar's ambassador to the colonies. Harper refuses to be with him. But in some ways, it's kind of cool. But it goes to show you why U.S.-Canada relations are so bad. When you don't meet with the Roman proconsul in Ottawa, the guy who represents Rome, yeah, you can see where it all goes south. And it's all this pettiness over Keystone and stuff. And Harper, of course, I'm going on a tangent. This was supposed to be a short video. Harper attacking Alberta the other day, too. And that's not going to play well with Albertans, attacking this new government in the Rachel Notley government in Alberta. That's not going to go over well with Albertans. Harper is kind of screwing it, but he did well in the debates last night, and I got to give him credit for that. I still think in October, okay, this is a prediction I'm going to make. I think it'll be an NDP minority government. I know you're thinking, okay, it's 2.5 months out, but that's what I think. And then all things come into play, right? I think the Green Party will probably win 10 seats. The Liberals won't do bad. And the Harperian forces will not be destroyed. They're too strong, and they got so much money. But that was a good debate last night, and I compared it to the U.S. Republican debate, which was stupid and silly and very little intellectualism and very little policy discussion, a lot of racism, a lot of nuttiness. And as it goes, yeah, the United States needs to go through the Enlightenment, and they haven't done it yet. And as I said in previous videos and letters to the editor, it's in many ways, a failed state. That when you watch that debate, what does the world think when they watch that debate, the Republican debate? These are the people who run the world. I mean, this is the most powerful country in the world, and they can't have an intellectual debate about policy where it doesn't stoop down to basic racism and sort of, intolerance and whatever. Yeah, so I wasn't going to do another YouTube video, and I've rambled on, but the comparisons between Canada and the United States, Canada, so happy I live here. Despite all the differences in our opinions on politics, at least in Canada, you can have a civilized debate where intellectualism and policy come in, and you can have, like, Elizabeth May has a couple seats in the House, and yet she can really challenge everybody, and she's great. The best prime minister we will never get. And like I said, they always said about Robert Stanfield, the best prime minister we never had, and Elizabeth May is probably the best prime minister we will never get, because yes, she's not going to form government. But boy, thank God she's there. I hope she gets invited to future debates. I hope she's invited to future debates, because at least she keeps them honest, and that's what it's all about. And I'm not taking away from any of the others. Justin Trudeau and Thomas Mulcair, they were good too. And Harper was very good. But the bottom line is good debate. And I wasn't going to do another YouTube video so quickly after the one. But yeah, I'm kind of proud to be Canadian after I watched the highlights of the Republican debate. And then I watched a good chunk of our debate. And I thought, yeah, at least in Canada, we're still discussing the issues. And there's a bit of intellectualism and civility and policy discussion. Anyways, lots to happen. 2.5 months left. I hope there are more debates. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Sorry to ramble. It was only supposed to be 5 minutes. I rambled on, and I promise you, no more YouTube videos for a while, unless there's some real big issue. This is good for my blood pressure to do this. It's really, more about me because it's good for my blood pressure to rant a little and get the stuff off my chest. Yeah, just keep engaged. That's all I say. Keep engaged. It's going to be a very interesting election. I think the most interesting election certainly in recent memory. This is going to be very interesting to watch how it all plays out. Okay, that's it. And please, let's shut down the button and have a good night and a good weekend. Stop broadcast.
Yep.
Is the middle key here. Right?
Yeah.
Don't
Just
forget,
click it real quick.
I'm a Luddite.
Real quick. Just, yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, wait.
You better
Hold
do
on.
it.